Now, Apple's new iPad is fast. While the LTE technology means videos download within seconds, it also quickly uses up data plans, forcing consumers to pay more. This need for speedier devices and more data is also putting pressure on wireless carriers. For more on this issue, let's bring in Kerton, principal analyst at the Kerton Group, a wireless consulting firm. So, I've been hearing people blowing through their data plan in 2 days with this new. Is that really happening?
It's remarkable. I think the high-resolution retina display, the screen, lets people watch HD video. So they're connecting to these fast networks with a screen that has a tremendous appetite. They're basically hitting the smorgasbord and eating everything in sight.
So even if you don't do anything differently, you don't change your habits at all, you still use more data on an LTE network?
You could. If your habit was previously watching video, the video you're watching now is higher definition, you will draw more data as a result.
So how are the carriers going to deal with this? Because it's a catch-22, right?
Yes. Unfortunately, it is. There's no great solution to the problem. I liken it a lot to the gasoline crisis. Right now, we're paying more and more for gasoline, so there's incredible demand for gasoline. It's surging worldwide. There's a limited supply. What's going to happen? Well, either your prices are going to go up to respect the supply and demand, or you're going to have capped in quota in terms of consumption. So what we're seeing right now is the quota effect coming in, where people's consumption of data services is hitting either a 2 gigabyte or 3 gigabyte cap.
So I've talked to other analysts who say we're just a couple of years away from an all LTE world. What will that world look like? What will plans be like? How will carriers adapt?
Well, first on the upside, it's going to be awesome. It's fast data to mobile devices wherever you are, anytime.
But my bill is really high, so I don't know how awesome that is.
Yeah, the catch-22, as you said, it's going to be awesome, but you're going to have to, as a consumer, start being more careful about the things you do. Consumers are going to have to start being aware of what's data heavy and what's not.
So you're saying we have to change, basically.
Unfortunately.
The carriers aren't going to change.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things that are blocking the carriers. Some of them are laws of physics with respect to how much you can put through a megahertz of spectrum. Then the other ones are access to capital, how fast you can deploy the networks. And so we're really, the carriers are actually investing billions every year. AT&T, for example, invested $19 billion per year in the past couple of years to improve their networks. But it's not enough, because the demand is just surging. It's what we call in the industry the data tsunami.
Is there an answer to the data tsunami, more spectrum? Would that help?
Well, more spectrum would help, but it helps in a linear way, mathematically speaking. If you doubled your spectrum, you would double your capacity. What we're looking for, we need exponential solutions. So some of the ideas that are coming out of the industry right now are smaller cells. So instead of having a big cell that covers 5 kilometers, in fact, over the years, they've been getting smaller and smaller. Every cell can serve a certain number of users. If you use smaller cells, you can serve globally a wider number of users with more capacity. That's one thing. And the next big thing we're seeing a lot of right now is Wi-Fi offload.
So, exactly, is a future of mostly Wi-Fi inevitable, whereas you don't download a video unless you're in a Wi-Fi hotspot?
I think, at least in the medium term, that is what consumers are going to have to start getting used to. Where if you're watching video on your iPad, you should be aware that you're in a Wi-Fi environment. If you're watching video in a cellular environment over the LTE, you should be doing clips and quick little, hey, look, here's a nice little video of my kid, but not watching 1 hour of college basketball.
Now, quickly, of the carriers, Sprint, Verizon, AT&T, we know Sprint is really struggling. How are these guys going to play out? Who's coming out on top? Who's coming out on the bottom?
Well, AT&T and Verizon both have one advantage, and that's great access to capital. So when spectrum comes up for auction, they can bid the most. So they have kind of first grabs on additional spectrum as it comes available. Other carriers like Sprint and T-Mobile aren't out of the game yet. They're improving their networks, and they're also going to launch with LTE. Sprint actually has tremendous assets in terms of the available spectrum they can build on going forward. They have to get through their capital and their price of capital issues. But really, they all face the same crisis.
Right. Sprint, Verizon, AT&T, all the carriers having to adapt in this new world of technology. Thanks so much.